Scott and James show, and tonight it's your turn, Scott. We're going to be analysing some of
Yeah,
Scott's pictures.
yeah,
Uh,
bit nervous. I know how you felt last week.
yeah, well, let's see how it goes. Let's roll the titles. Three, two, one. Yeah, it's a bit of a weird feeling, isn't it? Really?
Yeah, yeah, definitely. And I struggle to be honest. I struggled to find something that I felt worthwhile doing this with, because it's a while since I'd done a kind of full wedding with some kind of post
Yep.
staged pictures, and a lot of the more recent gig stuff that I'd done was at the arena, so the lighting was much better.
Mm.
So I think I had to go back to like 2018 or something for some gig photos that we could have a play around with. And have you had a chance to have a look at what I did?
I've had a quick look. Yeah,
Yeah,
I've had a.
it's quite surprising. I think again with what you've done and what I've done and what I would have maybe expected going into it.
Yeah, I mean, to
So
be honest with you,
yeah,
I was a little bit intimidated when I saw the band one
yeah,
because I wasn't. It was kind of full on, wasn't it? And you'll see this in a minute.
yeah,
The videos. The first ones we're going to be looking at is mine and Scott's take on the wedding one that you're talking about.
yeah.
Um, and then afterwards we're going to look at the band one. And yeah, it was. I had to try and think of it as I was doing like a first dance. Do you know where the lighting's completely off?
Definitely. I mean, to be honest, it wasn't the worst because it was all one colour, and he wasn't too bad. Um, but yeah, we'll chat a bit about it when we get to it. I mean, the wedding one that we're going to look at, that was it was over your way actually. It was at Hollins Hall,
Yeah, yeah. It was
and
nice then, isn't it? I didn't
yeah, it was a
realise it was
winter
snowing.
wedding. Yeah, a winter wedding. The
Mm.
snow. They wanted to do the sparkler exit. We were kind of rushing for time, which normally happens when you get to the last part at night as well. And we managed to get outside and kind of set some candles up for them to walk down. And it was it was really dark. Obviously, it was backlit by the hall itself. Um, I think I had one flash set up at that point. I think the rest was still inside set up from
Yeah.
the first dance and everything. So I think I managed to have one set up, and that weren't powerful enough. But do you want to do mine first, or do you want to do yours
Yeah,
first?
let's have a look at yours, Scott.
Okay, so in three, two, one, check this out. Okay, so the first picture we're going to have a look at is from a wedding a couple of years ago, and it's Amy and Wesley at Hollins Hall over at Belden. And as you can see, they had a bit of a sparkler exit going on, and the colour wasn't great. So as before, start off with lens corrections, and then just try and get my white balance somewhere there or thereabouts. So I know that he had a grey jacket on, so used that as a base. And then again, quick look at auto settings just to see where we are and where noise is creeping in, and then just have a bit of a play around in the basic adjustments just to get it looking somewhere right. It looks a bit blue at the moment, but we'll get back to that. It was very kind of dark. It's not the sharpest photo, but I really like the look and the atmosphere of it. So yeah, just increase the exposure a little bit, added a bit of contrast, just trying to warm it back up a little bit now. Just a little bit of noise reduction. Probably add a vignette at some point as well, which will kind of bring these areas back down as well, especially around the outside of the image where you can see that noise creeping in. Yeah, just darken that down a bit. Okay, I think I'll take it over to Photoshop now. I've got a bit of an idea of what I want to do with this one. As you can see, there's a bit of snow on the floor. It'd been snowing throughout the day, on and off, which it was good fun. So once we get in Photoshop, first thing I do is make a duplicate of the layer, just so that I've got a base to go back to if I need to do need to undo it or go back. I'm not working on the original layer then. Just get rid of this video timeline down at the bottom. There we go. Okay, let's see what we've got then. So we'll duplicate the layer and then create another layer. In a moment, I just want to open up my overlays folder. Okay, so just add a new layer so that I can pull in one of my overlays, which is one of my snow overlays. And as you can see, I've got quite a lot of snow on that one. And just change the blending mode. Just have a play around with a couple of these just to see which I prefer. Yeah, I think I'll stick with screen on this one. Just going to manipulate it a little bit just to make the snow a bit bigger, a bit of an angle on it. Think about that. And then I'll just going to add a mask to this and maybe get rid of some of the snow that's in the foreground, just so that we can see the couple a little bit better. I don't mind the one that's kind of in front of Amy's face, but the one that's in front of Wesley's face, it's a bit distracting, so I'll just get rid of that one, a few of these other ones. Just setting the brush to 40% opacity, so it's not completely removing these things, it's just making them a little less obvious. Yeah, I think I'm happy with that for now. Just go back into Lightroom for some final adjustments and just try and add a little bit more warmth to it in the mid-tones and the highlights. Maybe a little bit of blue in the shadows because it was night time, but obviously there's got quite a lot of warmth coming off of those sparklers, so just make it look a little warmer. A bit too much there, but let's have a look. I think that's about it. Just go back in and just add a little bit more of a vignette on here just before I export it. And that should do it. Okay. I tend to do this in quite a few of my images, and it's just I like how it looks. It creates a bit of a film look just by crushing the blacks a little bit, making it a little bit hazy, which obviously had a bit of smoke from the sparklers anyway, which you can see over on the left hand side, so it just sells it a little bit better. Final little tweaks, and I'll export it so I can show you the before and the after. Okay, so this is the final shot. I'll just pull in the original so we can have a little compare. There we go, so this is your before, very orange, not much atmosphere but quite a nice shot, and then this is the final image, edited in Lightroom with a little bit of Photoshop thrown in with the snow overlay, and this is what we've come up with.
That was pretty good. It's amazing the difference the white balance does, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, it was. To be honest, that image and the one that I actually delivered to Wesley and Amy wasn't much different, but I think I actually prefer the one that I've just done. um, as I
Yeah,
say, not much different. I just think because you've got a bit more control over your like your colour tones now in Lightroom than you did back then. So I just think it was a little bit. It's a little bit subtler.
yeah.
So quite liked it in the end.
It's quite good with the snow overlay that you used.
I cringe myself even when I hear it, but I love it. The actual folder is called Snowverlays.
Yeah,
I've got loads of them. But yeah, because the snow was on the ground and everything, it's quite effective, isn't it? And
yeah.
um,
I,
yeah, I think it was good.
yeah, I thought it was a good one that, and there's a few similarities that you've done to what I did on mine as well. Um, and I think a lot of it's kind of the starting off points, isn't it?
Yeah.
And then once you've done that, you kind of then go off into your separate directions, I guess.
As I say, I think once you've got a kind of baseline with your kind of white balance and then your exposure, your contrast, your clarity, and then any color toning or overlays or anything that you do after that that's personal preference, then, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah,
That's your artistic flair.
yeah. Well, I did two copies, which you'll see in a second. But the first one didn't really work out as well as I did, so I it's exactly the same. I mean, have you seen them yet?
Yeah,
Yeah, but it didn't really work, and you'll see what I was attempting. But
yeah,
I was just trying to do something, but I actually prefer the last one.
right.
But anyway, you'll
Shall
see
we?
in a second.
Shall we look?
Yeah, three, two, one. Um, Good choice, Scott. I've been sat here for ages, just staring at them. This picture here of the band. Um, my first impression is when I saw it is, ouch! What am I going to do with this? Um, so that's still a thought in process. The other one, which is a wedding, um, with the sparklers, um, looks a bit more achievable to do. There's quite a lot of things to look at because it's very orange, and so here's what I'm going to do. So let's jump straight in on this one. So the first thing I'm going to do here is, well, I guess I could. Just do the white balance on this one, but what happens here is it kind of cools the whole picture down. So whilst these are all right here, I actually want a bit of warmth in the background. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this selection brush, and I'm going to just go over see how that looks. So we're going to increase the exposure a bit there. But the main thing we're going to do with this one is alter the temperature. So just by bringing this down, you can see that it cools a couple down.
Pretty good.
Yeah. I actually liked. I did really contemplate doing the white balance all round, but I actually liked the orange in the background.
Yeah.
But it just looked too much as a whole, didn't it? You know, with.
I was see. I was tempted to do something with the sparklers, and I wish that I'd have exported some, because I have actually got a couple of images where I've added a couple of like love hearts or letters. I think I did one with with like, I think it was maybe a spiral or something around them. One with a W, one with an A. And I had a sneaky feeling that you might do something with the sparklers. So it's nice to do something a bit different in it. But yeah, it looks really effective.
When I saw yours, I just thought, oh, snow, why not? Why? How did I miss that?
I was surprised. I thought you would have done. I thought you'd have done it, especially after seeing what you did. Because when I watched them, I actually watched yours the other way around. I watched the J-foto first.
Right.
And when I saw that and saw what you'd done with that, I thought, oh, he's definitely going to be going with snow. But you didn't. So
no, well,
we managed to do something different again, which is good, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. So the other one you did then was the band one, and where was this?
This was at the O2 Academy in Leeds, so kind of medium-sized venue. It was the Blossoms, and because you only get to shoot the first 3 songs, Sod's Law, chances are the first 3 songs normally has the worst lighting.
Yeah.
So it's quite difficult, but I think because there was a separation kind of between the lead singer, which you'll see in a minute, and the rest of the band behind him, you were able to kind of separate him a little bit from it. But I've done something a little bit different on this one again, just to kind of show that you don't have to be using computers and Photoshop and Lightroom.
Yeah, I was quite impressed with this.
Yeah. So if we want to
Just
have
before
a
you
look
do,
at this, yeah.
Just before you do, there's something which I thought I had photoshopped something wrong. If you look at the bottom right, you'll just see a torso on the picture, and actually thought it was something I did wrong until I realised that
It's a reflection in something, a mirror, isn't it? Yeah, it is. Yeah. I know what you mean now, because I've seen it. But yeah, there's kind of mirrors on the front of the stage, isn't there? And it's some guy's legs.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you look out for the random legs in the photo.
Yeah.
But yeah, 3, 2, 1, let's go.
Okay, so for this one I'm going to do something a little bit different. I'm going to use an app called Snapseed and just kind of show you what's possible on mobile. So I'm just going to open up the original image, which it does open DMGs, and we can go straight into the editing. And yeah, into the develop part of this. First things first is white balance. I always try and find something that's either grey, silver, neutral colour, normally on the guitar, or sometimes on the microphone stand, just to get a bit of a base white balance from. So as you can see on this, we're just going to use the microphone, which makes it a little bit green, but it takes quite a bit of the redness out of the image as well. And once we've got this kind of base white balance, I can tweak it a little bit further then as well going forward. And you can see tint can either make it look a bit magenta or green. It's just to find that kind of happy balance where the skin's starting to look a bit more like skin, so it doesn't look like the Hulk or like he's been, on sunbed. So straight away there, it's looking a lot better already. I don't want to take away from the atmosphere, so I don't want to change it too much. Don't want to take the redness out of it completely. I'm just going to crop it a little bit down to those lights. Obviously not following my rule of thirds because it's bang centre, but I think it works quite well for this image anyway. Just a bit more of a white balance adjustment. There we go. Pull those reds down a little bit more. This is a bit like your clarity slider in Lightroom. So again, take some more of the red out of it, and obviously don't want that up as quite as high, but it does add a little bit more local contrast and gives it a bit of a punch. And I think I'm not too far off there, just a bit of a sharpening to finish off with. That's your before and your after. So I'm quite happy with that. This is obviously a quick edit, which, to be honest, when you're trying to turn around a live gig, you don't want to be spending ages and ages on each shot. It's almost the point of it's good enough. It's not going to be a big print, it's going to be displayed online. Don't want to be spending hours cloning things out and editing it in Photoshop unless it's for a specific reason. Very quickly, what you sometimes find as well, if you've got problems with the red lighting or any kind of mixed lighting at a gig, converting it to black and white is pretty much an instant win. Almost cheating. It's that easy to just swap it to black and white and it's going to look good, which is what you've got here. So we just have a final look at the befores and the afters. This is the original RAW file, followed by my quick edit on my phone, followed by the black and white one as well. So just thought it'd be a little bit different to do on my phone, just to show you what is possible with a free app on your phone.
Yeah, that is quite impressive, that free app, isn't it?
Yeah, do you know what? The only thing that's missing that I would have perhaps used there is like your hue, saturation, and luminance sliders, so that you can tweak the individual colours slightly. But for what it is, it's brilliant.
Yeah,
it is brilliant.
So I know you did that for the purpose of this. Do you actually use it often, that Snapseed?
Yeah,
Yeah.
If I send something now that with these new mirrorless cameras and stuff, I've got Wi-Fi on it, I'll send it straight from there to my phone. I sometimes find it easier to just open up Snapseed and do a quick edit like that than to import it into Lightroom, because although there's the Lightroom mobile app, what I find sometimes with that is that it's okay syncing things from the computer to the Lightroom mobile, and you sync your collections and everything. But if you want to do it back the other way, I end up with loads of duplicates of things.
Right.
So for me, I just find it easy to organise it that way. And if I'm sending it doesn't send raw files from the camera. Just get it up to send a basic JPEG, a reasonable size. Do a quick edit in Snapseed, and then you can bang it up on Instagram or send it to somebody.
Yeah, that's quite impressive. That actually the edit that you did with that on your mobile. I didn't actually realise until about halfway through, and I know you said it after about 30 seconds, but I missed it first time round. But yeah, that was good. That what made you choose that specific picture? Did you have you in mind, or were you thinking about what I might make of it, or in a good or bad way?
I didn't want something that was easy, a bit of contrast and a bit of clarity and done. Which, as I say, quite a lot of the more recent gigs that I've done, one because it's shot in bigger venues with better lighting, but also I think I've got a bit better at kind of doing a custom white balance. Mm-hmm. What I tend to do is I take a grey card with me and I'll do a quick shot on stage to get there or thereabouts. But a lot of time with the gigs, the light's changing that often that your white balance might be right 1 second and then it's wrong the next. So I don't shoot on auto white balance anymore. I'll leave it on daylight, so at least I'm consistent all the way. So if they're going to be orange all the way through, at least then I can kind of do a batch edit. Because what I found was, to start with, I was spending a lot of time editing the images afterwards. A lot of time messing around with your white balance, your HSL sliders, and it was taking me, probably over a week to edit one gig, when a lot of the time you need to turn them around in a couple of days, if not the same day, because people are waiting for them to get them published. So kind of nailed that. But I didn't want something too difficult as well, because I've shot in some, pubs where it's been really dark and you've been shooting at 128,000 ISO and the lights have been literally at the side of the person's head, sort of thing. So I didn't want something too difficult, but I didn't want it to be straightforward either.
Yeah.
Plus, it's quite a strong image. Even take all the colour and everything out of it, it's quite a strong image. So I think it is good to play around with.
Yeah, I mean, my initial thoughts were when I looked at it is that I felt a little bit intimidated by it to begin with, because until I realised what I was going to do, I just thought, wow, this is just completely covered. Yeah, just covered in red, and it wasn't until I know I filmed myself daydreaming, but genuinely, I was kind of just sat there and I because it's something that you do more often than not, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah. Well, I don't mean it can be 2, 3 times a week
Yeah,
when we can go to gigs. When we're allowed to play out and do stuff, which we're not at the moment. But yeah, it could quite easily be 2 or 3 times a week.
yeah. But I actually enjoyed doing it, to be honest with you.
Bit different for
Um,
you, isn't it?
yeah, it was. It was quite good fun actually. So, shall we see?
Let's have a look then.
3, 2, 1. First thing I'm going to do, unlike last time, is I'm going to have a look at the white balance. So straight away that brings things down a little bit, and then what I'm going to do is just a few adjustments. I'm going to alter this light a little bit, just bring it down a little bit there. So I'm just going to make a duplicate, and then I'm going to create a new layer. Yeah, it was quite good fun that actually. It was. I think once you know what direction you're heading in, it kind of opens up for you a bit then, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, you can tell, especially from what you did there in Lightroom, but pretty much one click fix for your white balance, isn't it? It's,
Yeah,
it's so powerful is Lightroom, and that that's what I really like about it. I really like what you did with the image. You pretty much killed the red light
yeah,
completely by the end. I put those kind of overlays on, which would have looked all right on the wedding image as well, wouldn't they?
yeah,
But yeah,
yeah.
and I mean, how long did it take you in total from kind of
Not
start
long,
to finish?
not long.
Once you decided what you were doing?
Yeah, I mean the wedding one took me a lot longer because I was messing about with the two images moving. But
Yeah,
once I got going, I think I was probably done in 10 minutes
yeah,
because there's nothing you need to do with the overlays. You just put them in there and decide what blending mode you want to use or what direction you want them in. Um, but the main thing for me was to try. Obviously, you'll be more accustomed to this. The main thing for me was trying to get the right background look without affecting the singer too much.
yeah.
Because I kind of wanted him to stand out as opposed to blend in. Um, but yeah, I was kind of relieved that I'd done it. Um, But it was quite good fun. That it's
I
actually quite good
used
fun.
to I used to get quite obsessed with the gig ones of trying to make the skin tones look like skin tones, but sometimes it's just not possible. I mean, they spend a lot of money on the lighting design to look a certain way at a certain point in a certain song, and yes, sometimes it's difficult to deal with. But now, as long as the light's not that intense that it's kind of blowing out the image, and you can kind of bring it back a little bit. I do try to keep a little bit of the colour in now.
Mm.
Plus, it's quicker. Do you know what I mean? If I can get there or thereabouts and then batch copy it across to the rest of the shots, it saves a hell of a lot of time. But I liked how much you brought the background in with it.
Yeah, well, I initially thought of the bokeh, and I knew full well that I had one which would kind of signify quite a lot of light activity in the background. Um, uh, but I know what you mean about the skin tones and things. And back in the early days when I was doing wedding photography and I was doing the first dance, I'd get home and I would spend ages trying to correct the skin.
Yeah.
And I just found it really, well, not impossible, but so time consuming just to try and get the skin to look natural. But
Well,
really,
then
it
you'd end
does.
up with really weird background colours as well. Then.
Yeah, yeah. And when you try and like I did with that first one, when I took the couple out of it and then edited them separately. When you're doing it on that, sometimes it always looks a little bit fake, doesn't it? Because you're
Yeah, and that's
editing.
it. And it's like almost like, especially with the first dance ones. And if you're using flash, obviously the flash will separate them from the background anyway. But sometimes even just using your on-camera TTL flash can separate them that much that it looks like you've stuck them in.
Mm,
So I think that's an experience thing, isn't it? Like you say, that the more you do it, you realise that it's taking that long, but by doing it, you're also losing quite a bit of the atmosphere.
yeah,
Plus, obviously time is money and all that as well. So, the longer you spend doing it, the less kind of money you're making in the way. But it's again, it's one of those things. There's no wrong way, is there?
no, they ain't. And I think we both came up with two completely different edits, but there was also quite a lot of similarities I thought between
Yeah,
the two as well. Like I said at the beginning, I actually enjoyed doing this, and maybe think we should do it again in a few more
yeah.
episodes, and or pick pick something else other than it doesn't necessarily have to for me to be a wedding picture. It could be anything, couldn't it? Really?
Yeah. Well, we should, if we can get some decent weather, we can go out together to the same
Yeah.
location and then shoot something for the other person to edit.
Yeah, that's a good
Yeah,
idea.
because depending on the location, it could be a landscape, it could be building, it could almost be street photography. It just
Mm,
depends where it is that we go.
yeah,
Uh, but yeah, I've definitely enjoyed the last couple of weeks because it's been a bit more photo editing, which I don't feel like I've done for a while. I think the last time I
yeah.
feel like I did any photo editing was when we did the smoke
Oh
photos.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know whether we're gonna have any good weather, but if we don't, we might have to just improvise and do something else.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll be all right at improvising. We do enough of it.
Yeah, yeah, we do.
But
So
we're up for challenges as well. If anybody
yeah,
has any more ideas for the
yeah,
challenges, especially weather's changing, it's darker on a night. Could incorporate that maybe. Who knows? Who
yeah.
knows?
Well, if we don't get any suggestions, we'll have a chat and then see where we are with
Yeah,
it for next week. But I think we're all wrapped up, are
yeah. We've done all right there. Enjoyed that.
we? Yeah. Well, I hope you
I think it's
enjoyed it. If you
always
got,
it's always a bit, like you said last week, it's always a bit worrying when you're sending your kind of photos across to somebody else to edit, because I think you're always a bit scared that it's going to come back and it's going to be like so much better than yours, and you're like, why am I even bothering? I'm going to quit and sell all my gear and stuff. But then
Yeah,
I think you realise that it's not necessarily better. It's a completely different take on it,
yeah,
and you can put them both side by side, and you'd be like, I don't know which one I like better because I like them
yeah.
both. It's just that they're different. But you've always got that bit of like, oh, I don't know, a bit
I mean,
scared.
I found it interesting to find out how somebody else was going to edit one of my pictures, and that was, like I said, that was kind of a bit exciting, really, just to try and think what you might actually do with it. Um, but yeah, it is all subjective, isn't it? And it's
Yeah,
everybody's got their own style, and you know, some people might like a certain style, and it's not for others.
exactly. That's it. So you've got all planned next week?
Well, depends on the weather.
Yeah,
Depends on the weather.
we'll have to get us waterproofs on and do something.
Yeah,
You watch. We'll pick a theme or a challenge of rain, and it'll be sunny all week.
yeah, yeah.
But
Right.
yeah, until next week.
Yeah. Until next week. I'll see
See
you
you later.
later.